Why does Allah make you wait so long? Have you ever made a dua, then waited and waited and waited until you started wondering, Allah, when? Maybe you have been asking for a spouse, a child, a job, healing, financial stability, forgiveness, or simply peace in your heart. You keep raising your hands, but the situation doesn't seem to change. And eventually a dangerous thought can enter your mind. Maybe Allah isn't listening to me. But what if the waiting itself is part of your journey toward Allah? Before we continue, I may not have new visuals for every story, so you may see familiar scenes, but the message matters more than the pictures. My sincere intention is to share beneficial knowledge and help bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using whatever means He has blessed me with. Now let's continue. Allah says in the Quran, "And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the call of the supplicant when he calls upon me." Notice something beautiful. Allah doesn't say He is far away. He says, "I am near." Your dua is not disappearing into empty space. Allah hears it. He knows the words you say, the words you cannot say, and even the pain inside your heart that you cannot explain. So why doesn't He always give us what we ask for immediately? Because Allah sees what we cannot see. We see one moment. Allah knows the entire journey. Imagine standing in front of a massive puzzle while only seeing one piece. You might look at that piece and say, "This is exactly what I need." But someone who can see the entire picture may know that putting that piece there right now would ruin the entire image. Our knowledge is limited. Allah's knowledge is perfect. This is why Allah says, perhaps you dislike something while it is good for you, and perhaps you love something while it is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. Think about your own life. Has there ever been something you desperately wanted, but later thanked Allah that you didn't receive it? Maybe you wanted a particular person, and the relationship ended. At the time, it felt like your world was collapsing. But years later, you realized Allah protected you from something you could not see. Maybe you desperately wanted a particular job, but you didn't get it. You thought you had failed. Then another opportunity came that changed your entire life. We often judge Allah's plan from the middle of the story, but Allah knows the ending, and there is another beautiful possibility. Sometimes Allah delays something because He is preparing you for it. You may be asking for success, but Allah may first need to teach you patience. You may be asking for wealth, but Allah may first be teaching you gratitude. You may be asking for marriage, but Allah may first be preparing your character. You may be asking for a peaceful heart, while Allah is teaching you that true peace cannot depend completely on people or circumstances. The waiting can become worship. Every time you raise your hands, every time you say, Ya Allah, every time you continue trusting Him, despite not seeing the answer, your relationship with Allah is growing. But there is something else we need to understand. Sometimes we become impatient with dua. We say, I have asked Allah so many times. Why hasn't He answered? The Prophet Muhammad warned against this kind of impatience. A person continues making dua, but then becomes frustrated and says that he made dua and was not answered. Then he gives up. Don't let that happen to you. You don't know what Allah is arranging behind the scenes. You don't know what harm He may be keeping away. You don't know what reward may be waiting for you. And you don't know how this waiting may be transforming your heart. But does that mean every dua will eventually be answered exactly the way we requested? No. And understanding that is incredibly important. Let's continue. Does Allah answer every sincere dua? Yes, but not necessarily in the exact form we expected. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that when a Muslim makes a dua, Allah gives them one of several forms of benefit. He may grant what was asked, remove an equivalent harm, or preserve the reward for the hereafter. Think about that. This means a sincere dua is never meaningless. You may look at your life and think, nothing happened. But you don't know what Allah prevented because of that dua. You don't know which difficulty never reached you. You don't know what reward Allah may have saved for you. And you don't know whether the thing you wanted would actually have been good for you. This is why dua should never become a negotiation with Allah. We don't say, Allah, give me exactly this, otherwise I will stop trusting you. Instead, we say, Ya Allah, if this is good for me, grant it to me. And if it is harmful, turn it away from me and give me what is better. That is trust. That is surrender. And that is what it means to believe that Allah knows better than we do. But there is something else we must never forget. Sometimes the delay is not about changing the situation. Sometimes the delay changes us. The person who begins making dua during hardship may eventually discover something greater than the thing they originally asked for. They discover Allah. They begin praying more. They read Quran more. They become softer, more patient, more grateful, more dependent upon their Creator. And one day they may look back and realize, if Allah had given me what I wanted immediately, I might never have become the person I am today. That is why you should never measure Allah's love by how quickly He gives you what you want. A test is not proof that Allah has abandoned you. A delay is not proof that Allah has forgotten you. And silence does not mean Allah cannot hear you. Allah says, indeed, Allah is with the patient. So if you're waiting right now, keep praying, keep working, keep doing what is within your ability, and keep your heart attached to Allah rather than to one specific outcome. You can cry. You can feel tired. You can admit that you're struggling. You can say, Ya Allah, I don't understand this, but I still trust you. That is not weakness. That is faith. And remember, sometimes Allah gives you what you asked for. Sometimes He gives you something better. Sometimes He protects you from something you never knew was coming. And sometimes He saves the reward for the day when you will need it most. So don't abandon your dua simply because the answer is taking longer than you expected. Maybe the door hasn't opened because Allah is preparing you to walk through it. Maybe the answer's delayed because the timing is not yet right. And maybe what you think is a delay is actually Allah's protection. The next time you raise your hands and feel like nothing is happening, remember this: Allah hears you. Your responsibility is to ask, to trust, to be patient, and to continue walking toward Him. The outcome belongs to Allah. May Allah answer the duas we carry silently in our hearts. Give us patience when the answer is delayed. Protect us from what would harm us. Grant us what is best for our dunya and akhirah, and make us among those who trust Him even when we cannot understand His plan. Ameen. If you're waiting for something from Allah right now, don't give up. Keep making dua, because you may not see the answer yet, but Allah has never stopped hearing you. Share this reminder with someone who is waiting, and follow for more authentic Islamic reminders based on the Quran and authentic Sunnah.